Good morning, everyone. Our topic for today's lecture is Disorders of Tongue, Part 1. So, in this lecture, we are going to understand the development and the various disorders of tongue, its anatomy, physiology, the functions, diagnostic tests, and the radiographic techniques for imaging the diseases of tongue. So, starting with the anatomy of the tongue is a complex muscular organ composed of 4 intrinsic and 4 extrinsic muscles. It is situated in the floor of the mouth. So basically, it has two parts, an oral part that lies in the mouth and a pharyngeal part that lies in the pharynx. The oral and the pharyngeal part of the tongue, they're separated by a V-shaped sulcus, which is called as sulcus terminalis. The tongue has 3 parts, the root, tip, and the body. So as I've told you, this is how the tongue looks like. This is the oral part, this is the pharyngeal part. The various papillae of tongue can be seen in this diagram. This is the circumvallate papillae, this is the fungiform papillae. These are the palatine tonsils, this is the lingual tonsil. These are the foliate papillae and the filiform papillae, which are present on the anterior part of the tongue. Coming to the muscles and nerve supply of the tongue, basically, if the tongue is attached to the hyoid bone, the styloid process, and the genyl tubercles. There are 3 extrinsic muscles which are attached with the tongue, and the fibers run vertically and horizontally. The muscles are the hyoglossus muscle, which depresses the side of the tongue, the styloglossus muscle, which draws the tongue upward and backward, the genioglossus muscle, which causes protrusion and retrusion of lips, of the tip. The loosely attached to the neighboring structures, the muscles which are attached loosely are palatoglossus and glossopharyngeus muscle. And the bulk of the tongue is composed of 4 groups of intrinsic muscles, which control the variety of complex movements of the tongue. The 4 pairs of intrinsic muscles are as follows. The first one is the superior longitudinal muscle, which runs along the superior surface of the tongue under the mucous membrane, and it elevates and assists in the retraction of the tongue and deviates the tip of the tongue. Second muscle is the inferior longitudinal muscle, which lines the sides of the tongue and is joined to the styloglossus muscle. The third is the verticalis muscle, which is located in the middle of the tongue, and it joins the superior and inferior longitudinal muscles. Next is the transverse muscle, which divides the tongue at the middle and is attached to the mucous membrane that runs along the sides. The tongue is the strongest muscle in the human body, proportional to the size. Some key facts about these muscles are as follows. The extrinsic and the intrinsic muscles are supplied by the hypoglossal nerve, which is the 12th cranial nerve, except the palatoglossus and the glossopharyngeus, which is supplied by the pharyngeal plexus. General sensation to the anterior 2/3 of the tongue is carried by the lingual branch of the trigeminal nerve. The special taste sensation to the anterior 2/3 is given by the chorda tympani nerve. General sensation and special taste sensation to the pharyngeal surface of the tongue is provided by the glossopharyngeal nerve. The proprioceptive sensation of the tongue muscles is provided by the hypoglossal nerve. Coming to the papillae of the tongue, which is a very important part of the tongue. So these papillae, they're nothing but the projections of mucous membrane, which gives the anterior 2/3 of the tongue its characteristic roughness. Here you can appreciate that we can see our tongue is not very smooth. It has slightly rough appearance. It is supported by the loose connective tissue. There are 4 types of papillae. First is the circumvallate papillae, the fungiform papillae, the filiform papillae, and the foliate papillae. First, the circumvallate papillae. These vallate papillae, they are large in size, measuring around 1 to 2 mm in diameter, and they are arranged in a circular shaped row just in front of the sulcus terminalis of the tongue. They are associated with the ducts of von Ebner glands, and they are innervated by the glossopharyngeal nerve. The fungiform papillae, the next papillae, they're present only on the anterior 2/3 of the tongue. They are somewhat mushroom shaped with rich in capillary network, and they appear as reddish dots on the tongue. They are around 200 in number, and the taste receptors are present in the fungiform papillae. The taste sensation is affected if the chorda tympani nerve is severe or there is occlusion of blood flow. The next papillae are the filiform papillae. They are slightly conical in shape and they cover the presulcal area of the dorsum of the tongue, giving slight velvety appearance to the tongue. They are the smallest papillae and they are quite numerous on the lateral side. Each papillae are pointed and covered with keratin. These papillae, they do not carry taste buds, unlike your fungiform papillae. The function is to lick and to convey the food distally and also modulate textural and pressure sensation to the tongue. The next papillae are the foliate papillae, which the foliate papillae, they are vertically arranged mucous folds on lateral margins of the tongue in front of the sulcus terminalis. They are innervated by the facial nerve, the anterior ones, and the glossopharyngeal nerve, that is the posterior ones, posterior papillae. Vascular supply to the tongue is by the lingual artery, which is the branch of the external carotid artery. Ischemia is quite rare because since there is a collateral circulation to the tongue. The development, in short, if I have to tell you, the tongue develops from the first branchial arch, the anterior 2/3 portion, and the posterior 1/3 portion, it develops from the second and the third branchial arch. Coming to the taste buds, the taste buds are defined as the end organs of taste. They are responsible for us to perceive the taste, different tastes. Basal shaped, they are basal shaped, open on the surface by small opening called as the gustatory pore. The diameter of these taste buds is around 50 to 70 micron. Bundle of taste receptor cells with supporting cells embedded in the epithelial covering of papilla. Here in the diagram, you can see the various areas on the tongue which are responsible for certain taste, like the anterior part of the tongue is responsible for sweet taste, slightly lateral is salty, posterior lateral is sour, and posterior most is bitter. Coming to the functions of the tongue, first is prehension and ingestion, that is licking, sucking, and chewing. Swallowing, perception of temperature, texture, taste, pain, and general sensation. Phonation, adequate muscle strength and control helps in communication skills. Respiration, jaw development, pressure from the tongue causes proper jaw development, and symbolic function. Secondary uses of tongue are as follows. Generally, the tongue is used for licking or interaction between tongue appears to be a common gesture of affection, not just in humans but throughout the animal kingdom, particularly in mammals. Coming to the examination of the tongue, routine examination first. If to inspect the dorsum of the tongue at rest, check for swelling, ulcers, coating, or variation in size, color, and texture. Observe and note the distribution of filiform and fungiform papillae. Check the margins of the tongue, the crenation, and the fasciculations. Note for any depapillated areas, fissures, and keratotic areas. Note the frenal attachment and any deviation in the tongue movement. You have to wrap a piece of gauze around 4 by 4 centimeter in size around the tip to properly steady the tongue between your fingers so that you can observe it properly. Lightly press a warm mirror against the villi to observe the base of the tongue. Now, how to examine the functions of the fifth and the seventh and the ninth cranial nerve, which are responsible for sensory and taste sensations, as I've already told you, sweet, sour, bitter, and salty taste. Specialized examination can be done like cineradiography, which is study of the oral cavity during drinking, chewing, sucking, phonation. More radiation exposure still is using to diagnose first phase octopine lesion and muscular atrophy. Pulse Doppler ultrasound can be used to study the characteristics of blood flow. Real-time USG of the tongue can be done. Small cross-sectional diameter probes can be used to check the ventral surface for cysts, abscesses, fluid-filled lesions, or from solid or vascular lesions. Electromyography can be done to study the action potential in actively contracting the muscles. Scintigraphy, MRI can also be done to examine your tongue. Direct microscopic examination can be done. Tongue papillae and capillary blood flow can be done using IV fluorescent dye. Psychophysical evaluation can be done. Electrogustometry is one of the methods. Taste functions can be done. Regional tongue mapping can be done. Tactile sensation testing can be done using the bond ray fibers. Coming to the disorders of the tongue, the classification first. The first is the inherited, congenital, and developmental anomalies. First, the two classifications are minor variations and major variations. So the minor variations include partial ankyloglossia, variation in the tongue movement, tongue thrusting, fissured tongue, patent hypoglossal duct and cyst, lingual thyroid, median rhomboid glossitis. Major variations include cleft lobe, bitetrafurcated tongue, aglossia, hypoglossia, and macroglossia, hamartoma and dermoid cysts, bald and depapillated tongue, and papillomatous changes. Second classification is disorders of the lingual mucosa. They include changes in the tongue papillae, example geographic tongue and coated or hairy tongue, non-keratotic lesions like thrush, white spot nevus, and vesiculobullous lesions, Keratotic white lesions like lichen planus and leukoplakia. Depapillation and chronic and atrophic lesions, which will include chronic trauma, nutritional deficiency, hematological abnormalities, medications, peripheral vascular diseases, diabetes and chronic candidiasis, tertiary syphilis, and interstitial bursitis. Pigmented lesions like ulcers and infectious diseases. Third classification is disorders affecting the body of the tongue, like the squamous cell carcinoma, benign tumors like amyloidosis, infections, neuromuscular disorders, sleep apnea syndrome, MPDS, and vascular disorders, and also various tumors of the tongue. Coming to the disorders of the tongue or the developmental disorders, first is partial ankyloglossia. So partial ankyloglossia is congenital shortness of the lingual frenum, as you can see this, or frenal attachment. There is midline mandibular diastema, lingual periodontal defects, and speech defects can be seen in the patient. Alleged ankyloglossia may have some, patients may have some behavioral problems. Here you can see tongue is partially, ankyloglossia means the tongue is ankylosed. That means the movement is restricted. So here you can see partial ankyloglossia. There is variation in the tongue movement due to partial ankyloglossia. Ability to curl and fold or to deform the margin becomes a little restricted. There is unusual extensibility of the tongue in a syndrome, which is called as the Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. The tongue becomes long and narrow in tuberous sclerosis. Sometimes it becomes restricted in epidermolysis bullosa also. Tongue thrusting is another congenital disorder in which positioning of the tongue is between the teeth during swallowing, speaking, or at rest. In newborn, it is seen as infantile swallow, and these patients usually present with an anterior open bite. Inherited or developmental disorder is fissure tongue, also called as the plicated or the scrotal tongue. It is manifested by numerous small furrows on the dorsal surface of the tongue radiating out from the central groove along the midline of the tongue. Frequency is higher in institutionalized, mentally retarded, and psychotic individuals. It is associated with extrinsic factors such as chronic trauma and vitamin B deficiency, candidiasis, salivary hypofunction. Fissure tongue is usually painless, except in some cases when the food debris tends to collect in the grooves and produce irritation, or when the fissures are very deep, as you can see in this picture. There are several clinical patterns. Simplest is the prominent median sulcus. In the second, there is median sulcus with transverse folds like the veins of the leaf. The other variant is cerebriform pattern in which the folds are very large and the tongue is thickened. It is commonly associated with Wilkinson-Rosenfeld syndrome, one Down syndrome. The patient is advised to brush the tongue with lukewarm water so that the food debris does not accumulate between the fissures. Patent thyroglossal duct and cyst. This is again another developmental disorder. Thyroid gland develops from analog of endothelial cells in the midline of the floor of the pharynx between first and the second branchial arches, posterior to tubercular impart. Enlargement of the lingual thyroid, cystic changes may lead to enlarged augment of the tongue, dysphagia, and hypoglossal palsy. Removal of the lingual thyroid may lead to hypothyroidism. Next disorder is median rhomboid glossitis. This is a congenital abnormality again, which arises due to failure of the tuberculum impar to retract before the fusion of the lateral halves of the tongue, so that the structure devoid of papilla is interposed between them. Candida albicans is considered as the etiologic factor. Sometimes it may be associated with median rhomboid glossitis, not always. It is characterized by flat or slightly elevated lesion located to the tuberculum impar. Here you can see a rhomboid shaped atrophic depapillated area, which is the median rhomboid glossitis. It can be oval shaped also, and it may vary in size from 1 to 2 centimeter and is well demarcated from the surrounding tongue mucosa. The texture of this lesion may vary from a reddish, smooth, devoid of filiform papillae or granular surface to a more lobulated and indurated structure. Lesions with atrophic candidiasis show more erythematous lesion, but some show keratin production, therefore white surface can be seen, and in infected cases, midline soft palate erythema is seen due to contact with the tongue, known as the Kissen's lesion. It is also associated with diabetes mellitus and psoriasis. Surgical excision can be done, cautery and topical and systemic antifungal therapy can be given, but most of the times it will not require any treatment. To summarize, tongue is a complex muscular organ composed of 4 intrinsic and 4 extrinsic muscles situated in the floor of the mouth. The classification includes the genital inherited disorders, disorders of the lingual mucosa, disorders affecting the body of the tongue, tumors of the tongue. These are the images of paired questions: median rhomboid glossitis, anatomy of tongue, and fissure tongue. These are my references. Thank you so much for your patient listening.